Alright guys, so Fula coming to you with another video. Shout out to the whole LDBC. If you like this video, feel free to like the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and also leave your comments in the comment section as well. Now, sometimes I dive into social issues, and at first, when I first read this caption, I had to stop myself. I had to say, okay, calm down. Just calm down. Don't jump the gun quite quickly. Really control yourself. I know it upsets you when he says shit like this, but before you go on the tirade, get your facts together and then go ahead and go on the tirade. So that's what I kind of did. I sat back, and instead of jumping in his DMs to G-check him, basically, and tell him that, if he were to ever set foot in South Central Los Angeles, he would definitely have to check in, and he would probably get packed out, I decided, let me just sit back, let me collect my thoughts together, let me collect my evidences together that basically refute the claim that he made. There was and I'm talking about Nature Nut. There was a comment, a caption on one of his posts, which he made, where he said Kevin Gates reminds him so much of his lower self, and that basically him and Nipsey Hussle are him in Babylon. Basically he was saying he was Kevin Gates and Nipsey Hussle in Babylon. So I was like, oh, really? And I had to sit back and think about it, The first thing that goes against that claim is the simple fact that Kevin Gates is a Muslim, This guy claims to be the end-all and be-all and be past Muslims and be a prophet in his own right. So that's the first thing that goes against them. But then when he mentioned Nipsey Hussle's name, it was like, oh shit, here we go again. Because there was one post he made when Nipsey Hussle died, which he said he is Nipsey Hussle and the energy travels. The problem is Nipsey Hussle's energy really went above his head, because he hasn't gotten a whiff or even a scent of Nipsey Hussle's energy. Because Nipsey Hussle's energy was something that encouraged grassroots. Nipsey Hussle's energy is something that encouraged doing for self. Nipsey Hussle's energy was something that encouraged not begging, not asking for donations, not asking for handouts, not asking permission to do something, right? Nipsey Hussle's energy was, you take control of your own destiny and you empower other people so they can control their own destiny as well. So they can have a different outlook on life, which adds to positivity and which adds to them having even a more free thinking mind that will not succumb to what just anybody says. That was his energy. His energy wasn't to sit on your ass in an Airbnb all day making videos or making downloads talking about your giving knowledge. His energy wasn't to have strip shows and twerk offs, all in the name of being at a higher frequency. His energy wasn't to lick on a girl like a popsicle or something like that. His energy was constructive and focused. Those are the first things. The second thing is, from personally knowing him, is that his energy was actually keeping the family together. And when I say keep the family together, keep the biological family together. His energy was taking care of his responsibilities, taking care of his kid, also taking on other kid from a former relationship in which his girl had, while taking care of his own kid, while raising up his own kid, while putting his kid into institutions that will empower her. That was his energy. His energy was to be able to leave behind his kid with his brother, because he knew his brother, because his brother was his keeper. His energy was to make sure that his dad and his mom were straight. You know what I mean? So it's opposite of everything that Nature Nut does. Nature Nut breaks up families. Nature Nut tells you to abandon your kids and that those kids are attachments. Nature Nut tells you that though his kids aren't his kids, they just simply portaled through him. So for him to say that, it's very much like insulting to Nipsey Hussle, and it basically makes Nipsey Hussle roll around in his grave. Nipsey Hussle also stood for something and didn't fall for anything. The thing is, you can't be considered even close to him when you sold your ass for needs of money. Okay? There was one live in which he said he would rather sell his ass than sell drugs. That was quite the opposite of Nip Hussle and his brother Black Sam. Shout outs to Black Sam, by the way. So, nah, you're not him. You're not like him at all. Nipsey Hussle's energy was to face his problems right here, not to run away to somewhere and just take a prolonged vacation off of someone's dime. If you listen to Nipsey Hussle's lyrics, and I quoted it over and over again, he says, as some youngins, we didn't want much, but if we was gonna have it, it was on us. Handouts, there was no such, just 10 toes and some old chucks. So he got it from the ground up, you know what I mean? He didn't sell his ass to get what he had, and he didn't spread his butt cheeks open to get them rammed in by another dude, nor did he ran in another dude to do that. So that's completely false, Also, Nipsey Hussle was providing opportunities for other people. He was providing an alternative. He was providing many alternatives, not just one alternative. Not just a 3-chair barbershop, Because Nip Hussle, he had his clothing store. He himself was going to open a barbershop. He himself was going to open a restaurant. He himself was he himself already sold fake artificial bundles of hair. So he was able to take any opportunity given to him, provided that it was morally upright, and capitalize off of that. So this is against, according to the master teacher, Nipsey Hussle was doing things against what he stands for. So there's no way in hell he's going to be Nipsey Hussle, you know what I mean? Or be like Nipsey Hussle. You know, I've been around Nipsey Hussle. I've been around his family. And I can tell you that his energy didn't involve being on Instagram all day, going live all day, showing his life. He was actually on the ground rolling, getting things together. And when it came to his creative space, you know, it flowed naturally. You know, his music was a testament of that, you know. And also, there would be no problem in sample clearances with his music. The Carbon Nation music, though, is so shitty that they're not going to get no sample clearances at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just bothered me when he said this and when he wrote that post. And I think he just wrote that to aggravate niggas like me. I think he just wrote that to aggravate like a 60s Crip nigga who may be like tapped into like what goes on into these YouTube streets. You know, I think he did that for like provoking, you know, so he can get a response out of people. Because right now, I think he's running out of material as it stands, you know. You definitely run out of material when you say that you get erections from having bowel movements. You know, that's how you know you're running out of material. You know, when you just make shit up that's just way off the wall. You know, and so when he said these things, when he wrote that post, I had to address it due to the simple fact that, you know, it's so far from the truth, you know what I mean? And I wasn't just gonna let it go down like that, you know. I wasn't gonna let him like do that. You know what I mean? Another thing about Nipsey Hussle is his girl felt secure with him. His girl felt like she can be intellectual with him. His girl felt that she can be a full person with him. His girl wasn't afraid of him, okay? He respected his woman as well, you know? That's one thing that he did. He respected his woman. He didn't degrade his woman by putting her on a homemade sex tape. He didn't degrade his woman for faulting her for missing her family, you know? He didn't make his woman leave family behind in order to be with him. He consolidated the family and the families came together. So he's nowhere near Nipsey Hussle. When we look at the entrepreneurial standpoint, he's nowhere near that either. I said it before and I'll say it again. Nipsey Hussle carved out opportunities for himself, but he had a team behind him. He didn't take credit for everything. He credited his brother Black Sam for being such a cold hustler, being such a beast. He credited other people for being behind him and making things happen. You know what I mean? He didn't just take credit all on his own. So this is why I have to like address this fact, you know. And so like when he said this, he's actually insulting him, like insulting Nip Hussle, you know, because Nip Hussle would not recognize him, you know, and Nip Hussle would test his jaw probably, you know, more so than not. You know, another thing that I must say is Nipsey Hussle didn't knowingly spread diseases, you know. Nipsey Hussle was disease free. Also, Nipsey Hussle actually revered Dr. Sebi. He actually admired Dr. Sebi. He actually was working on a documentary for Dr. Sebi's trial, you know, whereas Natureboy insulted Dr. Sebi. So they're not the same. You know, he's not the same. He's definitely nowhere near Nip Hussle. You know, and for him to say that, it's just like, stop dreaming, you know, and come into the reality that you were nothing like him. You were nothing like a Malcolm X, you know. You're delusional. I think whatever it is that's eating away at your brain, whether it be the lack of balanced diet from eating your B6 diet, it's really getting to him, you know. So with that being said, you know, he needs to rethink his words sometimes before he talks about Nipsey Hussle, you know, and puts his mouth to say like something like that, you know, because even the way Nipsey Hussle walked is nowhere near the way that this nigga walks. And I can not blame him for how he walks, because he was probably rammed into by God knows what one too many times when he was in his quote unquote lower self, which he's still in right now, because we saw the video with him doing all kinds of fuckery with them, basically having a strip club, you know, but this is supposed to be the kingdom, you know. So yeah, I think that's it, you know, as far as the points I wanted to make, as far as him claiming that, you know, he can't claim to be the likes of a Walter Rodney. He can't claim to be the likes of a Stokely Carmichael. He can't claim to be the likes of a Marcus Garvey. He can't claim to be the likes of a Noble Drew Ali. He can't claim to be the likes of any of those things. He can't claim to be better than them, you know, or by any way or by any form. Louis Farrakhan included, you know, Elijah Muhammad included. And, you know, I'm not saying I agree with everything they have to say, but, you know, when it comes to grassroots, when it comes to empowering black people, he's nowhere near the people that I name. And he damn sure ain't near no Nipsey Hussle, you know what I mean? It just kind of makes me upset, you know, about it. And then another thing, too, I want to say, too, and this is just me being petty. Nipsey Hussle was Eritrean, you know. He was Eritrean. So what that means is he was very tapped into his heritage, to his country's, to his father's heritage. He went to Eritrea, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. He actually went there. He went there twice. He went back to his home. He considered Eritrea home. You know, when you listen to an interview, he said definitely home. Beautiful, you know. While Eligio claims he's Haitian and Dominican, I don't know how true those claims are. This nigga has never stepped foot in Haiti. This nigga has never stepped foot in Dominican Republic. And I don't think he plans to. You know, Nipsey Hussle was actually teaching his daughter the dialect of Eritrea, Tigrinya. This nigga doesn't know a lick of Creole. This nigga doesn't know a lick of Spanish. This nigga just knows a lick of ignorance and dumb speech. And so he can't say he's Nipsey Hussle, because Nipsey Hussle was hardcore African. You're not African, you know, and you're the farthest thing from an African. And let you tell it, Nipsey's people sold you into slavery. So if anything, Nipsey Hussle is a complete opposite of what Natureboy is and what Natureboy stands for. Nipsey Hussle didn't stand for leaving kids behind, leaving family behind. Nipsey Hussle didn't stand for drunkenness. Nipsey Hussle didn't stand for running through whores and spreading STDs and making shit up, talking about that you gave people the cure for all diseases and shit like that. Nipsey Hussle stood for concrete results. And so with that being said, I'm just going to leave it at that. Like and share this video. If what I say offends his followers or offends him, I don't care. You know, it's fine with me. I want to offend him, you know, and it brings me joy to offend him. So, yeah. So if any of his followers come on here and troll, that's fine. I'm just going to troll you back. You know what I mean? And let you know what I think about you. But anyhow, man, that's all I got. Full of signing out. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Enjoy. Bad. One thing I wanted to throw in this video that I forgot to throw in that separates Nip Hussle like light years away from Natureboy is that Nip loved to read. You know, Nip had a collection of books. He was a reader. You know, as a matter of fact, he got the idea for his $100 mixtapes. He got it from a book. You know, he read a book that had to do with a dude who sold Philly cheesesteak for $100. It's called, I think, Contagious, I believe, is the name of the book. Yeah. So yeah, that's what separates Nip from Nature Nut, because Nature Nut doesn't like to read at all. In fact, he hates books, so he's nothing like that nigga, you know? And then another thing, a final thing about Nip Hussle that was way different than Nature Nut is, you know, Nip was a simple dude. Like, when you talk to him, he liked to keep things practical, and he liked to keep things like you know, understandable when you were in the inner circle and the inner workings of things. He didn't have to like use a lot of big words to articulate himself or anything. He didn't have to use a lot of big words to talk like quote unquote intellectual. He was just like by a natural disposition, he was just like intellectual, you know. And so yeah, that nigga just needs to shut his ass up. You know, he nothing like Nip. Yeah, he sounds like a dumbass saying shit like that, you know. There's nothing that dude, there's absolutely not a single solitary speck or anything of energy that resembles Nip Hussle on that Nature Nut nigga. Not a single solitary one, you know. It's nothing, like zero, you know. So like that's why I had to do this video, you know what I mean? Because, you know, a lot of niggas clout chase, and a lot of niggas just say shit out their ass, and you know, they don't have any evidence for what they're saying, you know what I mean? And so yeah, he needs to shut up. You know. And I know this is gonna sound messed up. I'm not gay or anything, you know. Don't get it twisted, I'm not gay, you know what I mean? But you know, in African culture, like when you you know, you acknowledge, like when like, say you have like a brother or something, like you have a friend, you acknowledge like, hey, that dude is handsome, you know. And you may be with your wife saying, yeah, like, you know, like, God blessed them with some good genes, you know what I mean? And so you may say he handsome, you know what I mean? So yeah, Nip was a handsome dude, you know. It ran in the family. It ran with Black Sam, and it ran with his father too, you know what I mean? And he got it from his mom too, you know, who is you know, is a good-looking woman. You know, Nature Boy's ugly as shit. That nigga's ugly. Like, I mean, it's hard to look at him. You know, like, so he's in no way nothing like Nip Hussle, you know. So yeah, he's just talking out his ass, man. Yeah, and so I just had to like vent and make a video about this, you know. But anyhow, man, this is it for me in regards to this topic. After this, you know, he can say what he want to say, you know. But he does need to kind of chill out, you know, and making comparisons to himself and saying he's like him and stuff like that. He just need to like pump his brakes, because, you know, he's not. And nor will he ever will be. Yeah, he'll never be like him, you know. He already, that ship didn't even dock, you know. But anyhow, man, that's all I got. Enjoy,